school next week, and it means a lot more free time for families, but kids can end up spending a lot more of their time online. So parents need to manage children's social media. Stephen Smith is with a Wired family, and he has 4 steps that can help all of us moms and dads. Good to see you, Steve.
You as well, Sheila. Thanks.
So is the concern the time they spend online or where they spend online, or is it all of it?
It's really all of the above. You know, you got to kind of treat apps like neighborhoods, right? There are certain places in neighborhoods where you don't necessarily want your kids to be, and it's the exact same thing with apps. It's not the app that's bad, it's some of the activity that takes place on those apps.
Okay, so the first thing I guess we need to do is at the beginning of this summer have a talk with our kids.
Absolutely, you got to talk. And you know, there's a suggestion that this generation of children and parents talk less frequently with one another than past generations and that. So
is it because we're all in front of these screens all the time?
Well, that's a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
So you got to talk to your kid. If you're going to allow them to have technology, you talk with them, create a contract. This is what you're going to be able to do. This is what you're not going to be able to do, and then understand the apps better than they understand the apps.
Okay, now that's a hard one.
That is a difficult one. But if you go to wiredfamily.org, you'll
I know you guys have a lot of help, but your second tip that we just saw on the screen there before we get to more on the apps is there should be tech-free zones in your house.
Absolutely.
So how do you set that up?
Well, so first off, in the greater Cincinnati area, about 73% of families do not implement tech-free zones. So what you have is about 56% of the children we've surveyed between the 5th grade and the 12th grade say they are online, unbeknownst to their parents, at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Gee.
So regardless of what they're doing, you can't argue with the fact that there's some sleep deprivation that's going on. So we always suggest when your child is ready to go to bed, they don't take the device with them. You know, they put it in the kitchen, they put them in mom and dad's bedroom, you know, to charge them up and that, but give them some distance from those devices and that.
Yeah, we don't have it at dinner time. There's no tech
Never
at dinner time
that's
my
right.
house. Yeah. So one of the things about the App Store that parents can do is set some limits on here so that if my son wants an app, he's got to come to me because I've got the password, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So so password protect the device from the App Store. And the reason for that, a lot of reasons for it, but one of the bigger reasons for it is there are Vault or Ghost apps. Generally, they look like calculators that a child, if they download that app, you're not going to necessarily know where their pictures are, where their videos are, what their conversations are, and they can also download other apps that you don't want them to use.
Okay. How easy is it for parents to figure out whether an app is appropriate for their child or not? You mentioned your site, A Wired Family,
sure.
but are there other ways?
There are, and commonsensemedia.org, and I don't have any affiliation with them. It's a great organization.
I've used that one.
Yeah, they review everything from movies to music and certainly to apps, and they've reviewed, I'm going to say, thousands of apps, and they'll rate them based off of age. Now, I don't always agree with their ratings, but you can't argue with the fact that they tell you about the app and then you as an adult can make the decision.
Video games, they review those too.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
And use parental controls. How can I find out about good parental controls?
Well, so first off, if I were here 2 years ago, I'd say, Sheila, there aren't a whole lot of good parental controls. There's probably about 10 to 15 really good parental controls. None of them are excellent, but there's some really good ones. PCMagazine.com did a review in August and again in December of the top parental controls, and you know they mentioned some like Custodio, Circle with Disney, but the one that they didn't mention is Bark. B-A-R-K, and the website's bark.us. They're one of the best. They're making a big push into schools, and then carrying that over into the home as well.
So if do I put that on the device or
Well, it
on
depends.
the Wi-Fi
It depends,
in the
but
house?
in the case of Bark, and really in the case of most of them, that they work with the router, right?
Okay.
And so you can determine what devices can be used, what time they can be used, what they can be used for. You can turn the internet on per device. They're excellent, and they take a lot of the burden off mom and dad's shoulders as to what they need to be looking for.
Wiredfamily.org, you need that one, and bark.us if you missed that about the parental controls. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you,
so
Sheila.
good to talk to you.
Appreciate it. You
Now
as well.
here's Tara.